Ladies and gentlemen, SideStrafe back, and today I'm making first contact with DCS World version 2.0 Alpha, and I'm here in my P51D Mustang on the newer Normandy map. Special thanks to Matt Wagner of Eagle Dynamics for hooking me up with the Mustang, as well as the map. A few other planes, Spitfire, BF-109K4. Looking forward to trying those out in time as well. But we'll get started with this Mustang here just because I've familiarized myself with it in the training variant that came with DCS 1.5. They fly about the same, I believe. This thing is just missing the back seat, but I've got guns. Weapons potential. So without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and start things up here. I never thought in a million years that I would be playing this title. I never thought that I would be enjoying the startup procedure what I'm doing now. It's ended up being one of my favorite things to do. The first time I started the engine of the P51 trainer variant, a smile overtook my face. That's so cool. Just the thought of being able to say, hey, I know how to start up a P51. I don't know, there's just something really cool about that. It's quite rewarding, and I look forward to the cold starts. You can actually choose to start a mission in the sky or on the runway, engine already running. But I don't know, I get enjoyment out of starting it myself, and I look forward to learning how to start some of the other planes. The jets, a little easier. I have an F-86 Sabre that I purchased, and starting that thing up is a breeze, but I think the Spitfire and the 109 are going to be a pain compared to this one. We'll see in time. But anyway, taking a look at the map, might as well zoom out for you. This is, of course, Normandy, France, and we've got some of southern England. It's also modeled here. Insanely huge map. Wait till we get in the sky. If we get in the sky, my takeoffs are not necessarily the best ever. I think I can cut to the left here. And make it onto the runway. I am using rudder pedals, which have definitely added to that learning curve. I'm gonna go ahead and mow some of this lawn and just cut across. As far as the rest of my kit, T16000M flight stick and HOTAS, I'll have links in the description below. Track IR 5 accompanying those devices, of course. Love my Track IR. If you're into flight sims, you probably already own one. If you're thinking about getting into flight sims, add that to your shopping list. Alrighty then, well, let me just straighten out a little bit. Okay. Close the canopy. And I think we're all gravy here. All right. Toe brakes engaged. Throttling up. Release, prepare to counter. Got the tail wheel locked a little bit as well. Away we go, raising the landing gear. Welcome to Normandy. Bring that RPM down. And we're going to gain some altitude here so that you can get a better look at things. But right off the bat, you can see how, compared to the original map in DCS, things here are individually modeled. The houses, trees actually have collision meshes now. Look at that. Absolutely incredible compared to the last map. But we're going to turn around here a little bit and then begin to climb. Now, within DCS World version 2.0, you may see a performance hit if you're coming from 1.5. A lot of that is just simply due to the fact that the map is far more detailed. The old Caucasus map is being redone, though, so it may include some of the same features as Normandy and the Nevada map that they've also released. But this is absolutely incredible. Beautiful. I've not flown a lot of flight sims, but you know, this could be the best representation of Normandy out there, at least from the sky. I mean, holy smokes, the scale. Flying over another airfield at the moment. That really gives you a great idea of the speed and sense of scale. Look at that, ladies and gentlemen. Holy smokes, all of those buildings. As I said before, individually modeled. Look at that attention to detail. In a flight simulator, you could almost think that this is maybe a real-time strategy game map. Absolutely jaw-dropping. Now, is there a performance hit versus the old map? Yes. Does some of that maybe have to do with the new game engine as well, or the changes to the game engine? Sure, probably. I can tell you, going into this, you might want to mess with your multi-sample anti-aliasing settings. and shadows, ground shadows at least. They may have an effect on your performance. You know, there's a lot more going on here. 2.0 is also still considered alpha, an open alpha. There's still room for improvement, room for polish. Time will tell. But does it run horrible? For me, no. Everybody's system is, of course, going to vary. I sold off both of my 980 Ti's and just went with one 1080 Ti just because SLI isn't really being taken advantage of as much these days. You know, not enough developers really supporting it for it to have been worth it. So I decided to just go with one powerful card. The only thing really holding me back is probably my processor. It's an older 6-core i7. It still checks out, but it's a little long in the tooth. It could use an update to keep up with live streaming and maintaining frame rate. But this is just incredible. I could fly over this map all day long. And to think, you can dogfight over this. There's so much more to this game. Today's video will just focus on flying. Again, I am a flight novice. My flying experience is whatever old arcade games I've played in the past. Star Wars type games, Crimson Skies, and, you know, cheesy jet games and things like that. And then going into War Thunder was more of my flight experience back in the day with historical battles. I never played sim battles in it though. You know, at the time I didn't have a flight stick or anything. And then I jumped into IL-2, Sturmovik. Off and on, was a little disappointed at first with it performance-wise. It got better, just got back into it. And then, having played that, I think my interest was further piqued by DCS. Even though I thought that I would never play this game. A lot of you over the years have suggested DCS to me. I was always like, nah, I don't want to spend 5 hours in my plane trying to start the engine. And now, like I said earlier, my favorite thing to do is start the engine. But I'm loving it. I mean, there's no denying that it's a great experience. Of course, that new game smell has taken over. You know, how long will the addiction last? I can't say for sure. I bounce from game to game, but right now, you know, I have to say that, yeah, I've been missing out when it comes to this thing. And again, I'm more of a ground combat guy. I know more about armored conflicts and infantry combat in World War II. I know tanks like the back of my hand. Now, planes, I really don't know a whole heck of a lot. Are the flight models and damage models accurate within this title? I wouldn't be the guy to ask. I'm not an expert on aircraft. I've heard some people say that the damage models could use some work in the World War II craft in DCS, but again, I really wouldn't know. I feel like with the release of this Normandy pack and the World War II assets pack, which replaces a lot of the ground vehicles and whatnot with World War II era vehicles, they're perhaps focusing more on the time frame, or at least trying to keep it balanced with the jets and whatnot. I think their next module's FA-18C. And I think one of their latest World War II craft was a Spitfire. So there's obviously an interest there. They're not slowing down on the World War II content. And them releasing this map almost proves that they're taking it seriously. And I know that each module is developed by a separate developer. I guess you have Eagle Dynamics, which makes some modules themselves, and then you've got companies like Bell Simtech or whatever that also make a few different modules. So I guess it's just trying to keep parity and make sure that things operate as they should. Let's see if I can get a little closer to some of these ground assets. Look at the detail. We're set to summer here as well. You can change the time of day and the weather conditions. If you set it to fall, the color of the trees will change. I don't know if they've done a winter version yet, though. I haven't tried that out yet. I think that's in the works. There may be a few glitches here and there as well. I've noticed some portions of the maps kind of like intersect in strange ways, but otherwise, for the most part, it looks great. This is so relaxing. So very relaxing. But I'm still deep in flight training. I've been spending a lot of my time streaming this game and just practicing my takeoffs and landings. This is incredible. Wow. Who would have thought this is where we would be today? But anyways, how about a little bit of a different perspective? Maybe something a touch faster than the P-51. Let's switch over to the F-86 Sabre Jet. Alright, and we're back, this time with the F-86F Sabre Jet. And I'm already started up here. That's because when attempting to contact my ground crew to provide ground power, I couldn't get them to deliver. And I don't know if it has to do with the fact that this is a 1944 based Normandy map and it's just not equipped for the jets, or maybe I was doing something wrong. Not sure. But anyways, you know, this thing's actually really easy to start up. We're just gonna deal with the takeoff now instead. But as a special treat, the Freedom Saber in full effect. A thing of beauty. Now this one I bought myself, worth every penny. It's a nice, smooth transition out of World War II craft into the jet age, and I really enjoy this thing. Beautiful cockpit. The attention to detail, the high resolution texture work. Anyway, let's get this bad boy into the sky. Make sure that we are clear there. Let's get those flaps up. Full power to engines with the brakes engaged. Up and away. So a little bit of a different perspective on Normandy. Now, this jet, I may be missing a few of my controls. I don't have trim set up, so I might have to fight with the stick a little bit more. The one thing I noticed transitioning from 1.5, as they are different applications, 1.5 into 2.0, you have to rebind everything. I don't know if there's a way to move your settings over, but as each aircraft is separate in terms of settings, you kind of have to spend some time binding things. I'm going to try to get a little bit more altitude in this one so that we can see the map from much higher up. This thing just wants to climb, climb, climb. But look at that scale. You almost don't realize how large this map actually is until you grab some altitude. Speechless, clearly. It's just something else, guys. I don't know what to say at this point. It's just, I don't know, it blows me away. What I've been missing for so long. This is why you guys enjoy those flight sims. Granted, I have no idea what I'm doing with anything else in this jet. I don't know if my guns are actually turned on right now. No, they're off. Sounds aren't bad. I feel like they could use some work in some areas. I know there's people that have created a few mods for various aircraft, but there's something soothing about the jet engines. Dogfighting, I'm sure, a different story altogether. Let's see, I think my guns... are active now. Sometimes you have to readjust that track IR when you're moving around in your seat. Yeah, the gun audio could use some work on those 50s. I had come across an interesting video the other day of a P40, I think, at an air show. Really old video. Quality was quite poor, and it was a very short video, but they had loaded up the World War II craft with blanks on the 50 cals, and they took off, and pilot was shooting the 50s in flight, which I had never heard before. You know, obviously we get these World War II dogfight videos that have audio added in later sometimes. And it's just not the same, but, you know, listening to the 50s go off on this aircraft that was in flight, it was a lot different. You don't really ever hear a game replicate that properly. Audio's not easy. I mean, a lot of the environment has to be taken into account. But, you know, in time, things can change. But yeah, it's kind of funny flying over this in a jet. Hey, you get a different take on things. This thing just wants to climb. Let's be careful, though. Especially considering I don't have some of my other trim settings bound. Now, as I was saying, I do have access to the Spitfire and BF-109. I don't really know how to start those planes, but I could perhaps take us out in the Spitfire in a free flight mode, just to kind of give you guys an idea of what that's about. Got some craters there. Also, I think in one of the instant action modes, we can kind of get a look at a more populated version of the map. There's a lot of AI flying around. And I believe even a B-17 map asset that might be worth a look. So I'm going to go ahead and transition into that. Alright, we are back, and this time in the Spitfire Mark 9, I believe. And look, there's the B-17, which is, I believe, just a map asset. There isn't a pilotable version of it, but I'm going to attempt to spectate that bad boy eventually, and you'll see the amount of detail that went into it. It makes you almost think that one day there might be a flyable B-17 module. But anyways, this Spitfire, I'm sure, will interest some of you. This is one of their newer World War II planes. I have to say, It seems a bit more detailed in terms of its texture work than the P51. Although it's quite messy in here. All the pipes and wires or whatever. It's like a steampunk fantasy world in here. But just the texture work, I don't know, it seems maybe more high resolution, or just in terms of the shaders at work. I wonder if the P51 will get any updates, or if the older planes ever get updated to the newer tech. Because obviously with 2.0 the engine is changing, and so hopefully they'll update things. But man, this thing looks good. Messy, but good. But yeah, in this free flight mode, there are AI available to us that you can spectate by hitting F2 a couple times.
Infield is RTB at 3,500.
And there's that as well. But again, you know, I don't know how to start this thing. And I don't really have any detailed controls set up for it either. So what I think I'm going to do is something that may upset a few Spitfire fans. Trust me, this is only for science. Maybe over here, let's see. Tally-ho! Ooh, watch that house. Well, still a lot more comfortable than my last British Airways flight. I appear to be made out of rubber. Oh, hey there. Oi, you what, mate? You having a go at my plastic suit? Stop staring at me. It's kind of creepy. But anyways, I think there's a way to zoom out here. Yeah, the character appears to be a bit of a toy soldier. I'm not sure what's up with the whole like plastified rubber suit kind of effect. Maybe it's so he could slip out of the plane. Oh, here we go. Ground fall. I think you can walk around, but it's with the joystick. It's really awkward. A relaxing day. I think I can go first person too. But I mean, if you look at this, I think I have to. Oh, I think there's a way to. The attention to detail on the ground is absolutely incredible for a flight simulator. A flight sim has this much ground detail. I mean, there's probably some older games that don't even look like this. Actually, I'm thinking about World War II Online at this point. Which... Oh, there's that close-up again. But yeah, I mean, this gives you an idea of how detailed the houses are in a flight simulator. I mean, look at the stone and brick texture work on the homes. There's even a car over there, or a truck. And the fact that the game isn't running worse, the fact that the game is running as well as it is, I mean, this is the close-up detail of one of these buildings. I didn't even see this before. I didn't even realize. The problem is trying to walk in this game is really weird. But it's funny that you can bail out and actually walk around. But anyways, you get the idea. That's pretty cool, though. I wasn't even really fully aware of how detailed these environments are. Holy smokes. But anyways, the thing I wanted to see was the fact that there are various World War II map assets in play here. It's a Mustang, AI taxiing. Oh, the B-17's coming in for a landing. Look at that. Hubba hubba. Look how detailed it is. Look at all the rivets and the engine detail. Oh. Aw, man, it disappeared. Damn, I wonder if there's another one. Oh, well. Hopefully you guys got a good look at it. I spent too much time walking around, I guess. But holy smokes, that B-17 was extremely detailed. Like, to the point where I'm thinking B-17 module in the future? Be a massive undertaking, but who knows? I mean, that thing is so detailed, and just for a map asset. Who knows? This guy might be getting ready to take off. But anyways, how about one more plane? Now we are in the BF-109, the finest in German engineering. Oh boy. Just gotta look at this interior. Yeah, I have no idea what I'm doing in this one. My only 109 experience in a flight simulator is IL-2. Yeah, the paint work on this one looks legit. Like, it actually looks like paint. You know, sometimes you get that texture work, or it just seems artificial in some way. Again, I wonder if they'll touch up some of the older aircraft in terms of their paint jobs, texture work, and whatnot. I'm just admiring all the details. I mean, look at that. Close up, the texture work. Hopefully you're watching this video at 2560 by 1440p resolution. There's some Focke-Wulf 190s over there. If we can spectate them real quick.
Enfield 1 with RTB at 1,500.
Man, the paint work looks really good, especially on the German camouflage. So, I think we're going to bring this video to a close. I want to make sure you take a look at the description. I'll have all the links you need to succeed. Links to my Thrustmaster setup, track IR, links to the Eagle Dynamics website. You can get DCS 1.5 on Steam. However, as I said, it's 1.5. You can't get the 2.0 version. This is 2.0. In order to experience Normandy and the new Nevada map as well, you'll have to have 2.0. You can only get that from the official website. Now, I recommend that if you do get into DCS, buy it directly from Eagle Dynamics, because a lot of the modules that you'll find on Steam are not compatible with the build on the website. Mostly, I think that takes into account the newer stuff, M2000 and up, but you want to double check. I know that the web-based stuff isn't compatible with a lot of the Steam builds, so be very, very careful with that. But, you know, on the flip side, I don't know that Steam necessarily needs any more of our money. If you go straight to Eagle Dynamics, it at least just all goes to them, because Valve does take a cut anytime something is purchased from the Steam store. But, you know, whatever floats your boat, whatever's more convenient. But the only thing for sure to be mindful of is the compatibility issues. You want to look into that. I'm not 100% on it. But, again, I'll have everything linked down below. Ladies and gentlemen, I really hope that you've enjoyed this look at DCS World version 2.0 and the Normandy map. Hopefully in the future I'll actually learn how to fly it to a point where I feel comfortable with combat. This definitely has me intrigued. I'm also hoping this helps me get better with IL-2 Sturmovik. I kind of want to fly around and do some combat there as well. That game perhaps is a bit more forgiving than this one in terms of its flight modeling. But again, I'm not an expert. Time will tell. But man, oh man, I'm just having a blast flying around in this. So, ladies and gentlemen, once again, thank you all so very much for joining me. It is greatly appreciated. I'll definitely see you on the next one.